And we have 4 people. I believe that that's a quorum. So can we call the roll to make it official?
William Connor. Ron Helmbolt.
Here.
Thad Taylor.
Here.
Lee Trucks.
Here.
Catherine Kenny.
Present.
Angie Quinn. Dennis Otto.
Okay, approval of agenda. Anyone have any problems with the agenda? Any
So-
additions?
So moved.
Support.
Moved and supported. All in favor, say aye.
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 I didn't hear any nays, so I think that was passed. At this time, if anyone has a conflict of interest, they can declare it. Moving on, approval of minutes. You have a copy of the last minutes, which are August 2nd. And I was not here, so I'm not going to.
Where was I?
amend it.
I make a motion to approve the minutes of the August 2nd meeting.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Minutes are passed. Public comment on agenda-related items. We have no comment from any public member. New business calendar for 2024 meetings.
So new business, I'm sorry, new business. First I want to introduce myself again, Teresa Waldo. So I've been here 1 month already and it's been fast. It's been exciting and I'm glad that I'm here and everybody's been very welcoming. I wanted to make sure that everyone has received their packet in their email and if you had a chance to review it.
I didn't get one.
Okay, and do you prefer to get it emailed, or would you like to pick up a hard copy? How would you like that done in the future?
Email's fine for me personally.
Okay. So the next thing that I wanted to discuss is the calendar, and I can show you that on here. I included that in your packet. So here we have the calendar for 2024 meeting schedule. The only thing that I possibly see that might be a conflict would be July 3rd, 2024.
Definitely.
July 3rd is a Wednesday, so I don't know how many people would be off or not able to attend. So would you like to move it to the following Wednesday?
I'm good with that.
Okay.
Either one's okay with me. So
And-
we move to the 10th? Do we need a motion for that?
Yes, please.
Have a motion to move the July meeting to July, from the 3rd to the 10th?
So moved.
Support.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, meeting for July is the 10th. All of the other, could I have a motion to accept all other dates?
So moved.
Support.
Moved and supported. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? The proposed dates are accepted. Next item on the agenda is 355 River Street signage.
Yes, so this application came in to me well in advance for this meeting. I'm gonna go ahead and put the sign, well, how do I fix it? Maybe I can do it this way, so you'll be able to see it maybe a little bit better. There we go. So this is the Sun Shack, and this location is at, bring this up here, I can't read it off of there. It is at the 355 River Street. And it is currently zoned C3. And some of the questions or findings that I had once you start to review this are, I know that with the HDC meeting, that preferably you prefer to have engraved or embroidered or creative decorative elements on the sign. Some other things that I wanted to bring up is the building inspector may need to have a building permit attached to it. They did say that the existing steel frame is there, but if they do not use it, the building inspector would need to have an application made. Also, I have invited the person from the sign company, Johnson Sign. This is Madeline Lamb, and she's here to also talk about it a little bit. You can go ahead. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for your time. So, in reading over the guidelines for the historic district as written, it allows something called halo lighting, which is when the light is behind a panel but shines out from the sides onto a panel that's behind that. And then it also allows external lighting, so like an external fixture that shines onto a flat panel. And our customer is very interested in the halo lighting option, especially given the shape of the sign being a sun. They want the rays of the sun to be illuminated, but they would also like for their name, the Sun Shack, to be visible. And in order for that to be allowed, there would either have to be a variance or some sort of amendment to the historical district guidelines. So I brought some visuals. If you guys want to take a look, I can bring them up. So if we did just the halo lighting as allowed by the current guidelines, that's what the sign would look like at night. It would just be a black disc with the illuminated sun rays. What our customer would like is for us to route out the letters of their name so that the light would also shine through the name of their business. And this is very different from a different kind of transmitted light and signage where we would use a translucent panel for the front. So the light would be halo lit in the sense that the sun rays would be lit from the side, but the panel would be lit up from within and it would be transparent. Now this is definitely not allowed, and it's actually not even what our customer wants, but I think this is what the rules are trying to prevent, is this kind of sign, because then you're just one step away from this, rectangular box cabinets that are internally lit that's all up and down Parkdale. But the option that my client would really love to do with the routed letters, I feel would be in line with the kind of atmospheric lighting that downtown is kind of trying to create, and it would definitely be like classy and creative, and it would incentivize customers with signage downtown to go with something more like this as opposed to just a gooseneck light fixture shining light on a flat panel. So I feel like you'd end up with more great signs like the Talk About It sign, for example, which I brought a picture of because they fell into this limitation of, sorry, I have a lot of pages here. They fell under the limitation of not being able to have the transmitted light through their lettering. So at night, the Talk About It has the lit up flames on the sign, but the name of their business is not illuminated because at the time when their sign was created, and to this day, its transmitted light is not allowed by the Historic Commission. So by allowing it, it would incentivize more cool signs like this, because a business is more likely to invest in a cool sign like this if it also lights up their name at night. And I feel like it would also make downtown look very much open after dark. Not every business can afford something like the Bluefish that has full halo lighting, but with something like what we're proposing, you get more kind of atmospherically lit, you know, cool signs downtown. And so just as a demonstration, that would be like translucent panel behind a routed out letter. So the letter would be illuminated through, in this case in blue. So, our customer is happy to go with a different option if you guys decide that it's in the historic district's best interest to go with a different, to stick with the existing rules and guidelines, but we figured it was worth asking you guys if you're interested in possibly allowing this type of signage downtown moving forward. So, thank you for your time. Does anybody have any questions about it for me?
Yes, for the Sun Shack lettering, will it be blue like it shows in the picture?
Yes, so
Or like white like you showed in the example?
this is the base material we would probably use. This is a translucent acrylic, and then we have the aluminum that would go over it. And then what we would do is put a translucent vinyl film over this. And so then the light shining through would be blue, but the light shining through behind. So for example, like, this is just something that we had, but how their sign is designed, the light would shine through the letter, but then it would also shine out the sides to illuminate the color of the panel behind it, which in this case would be the rays of the sun. I didn't have that handy yet, just at this example, but, so the sign would actually be constructed in layers so that there would be the central sun shape, and then there would be the acrylic panel, and then the routed out aluminum, and that would be on both sides. So as you're walking up River Street, you would see the golden red gradient of the rays of the sun.
And then the
And
blue,
then shining through the routed lettering.
okay.
Now, we could do it where this is just an opaque panel in the front, and so then the light would only shine out the sides. So this would be completely opaque, so it would be a black disc at night, but the light would shine out onto the colored surface of the rear panel. So this right here is currently allowed by the rules of the Historical Society. So the only thing that would be an amendment would be to allow the front to be routed out, so that you'd allow some transmitted light, but it would have to be worded, if you were gonna change the rules, it would have to be worded such that it was only through like routed lettering, so that you wouldn't end up with a bunch of just box cabinets with rectangle acrylic with, you know, the Parkdale pole signs kind of style, which I know is what you don't want in the historic district. But I think that this is something that would be in keeping with, you know, the aesthetic of downtown and just the cool lighting up and down the street. I mean, when you're walking down River Street at night, it's, you know, the Vogue and the Bluefish and the Taco Bout at these halo lit and different kinds of lit signs are what makes downtown look cool and alive after hours, after dark. And this revision to the rules would incentivize more businesses to do more cool lighting effects with their signage, as opposed to just, you know, a spotlight on a flat panel, which a lot of the signs downtown, it's just a flat panel with a spotlight on it. And so this would, I think, give a cooler effect overall downtown to have more signs like this, but it's entirely up to you guys what you're, how you're wanting to go forward with the signage.
Now, could the sign be turned off or turned down Like,
Yes.
okay.
Yes, you'd be able to adjust the brightness,
Okay.
and it would definitely, could be on a timer, or it could be on a switch.
Okay.
If you wanted to be like, they've gotta be turned off after midnight or after 11. I'm never
Right.
awake late enough to see the Vogue lights turn off, but I assume they're not on all night.
Nope, I think they're on all night.
I don't think so. They usually, sometimes they forget to turn them on. That's the only reason I know. Do we require any other signs downtown to turn off?
No, it was just something I brought up because there were a couple individuals that I've heard from that, just kind of asking opinions, and if there's anybody that lives upstairs or lives across from there, that's gonna be lighting that they would see, and I didn't know how much that would affect. Some people don't like all of that lighting, so I didn't know if downtown, if any of them were required to turn off at night or a certain time. It was something I thought I would bring up.
Yeah, oh, that's fine.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Nope, I don't know of any
Do you,
either.
do you know of any, Lee? No? So they can leave their
It's
signs
never
on?
been an issue that I can remember anybody discussing.
Okay. Good.
I like the idea of that light coming through. I think that's really nice.
The only comment that I have is that I'm not in favor of changing the rules. I'd rather accept this as a special use. You
I
know,
agree.
That every
That's
time,
Mhm.
so that every time some sign like this came up, we would
Reference
Review it.
back, yep, and review it. Yep.
Would you mind putting on some, not necessarily you'd have to activate it, but a timer or switch in the event we get complaints from upstairs tenants?
We could definitely add that.
I mean, is it a big cost?
I don't think so. I would have to talk to our estimator, but I don't think it would be prohibitive, in terms of expense. My experience of lighting at night would be that something like this or something like the Talk About It sign is a lot less likely to cause glare issues than actually those external gooseneck fixtures that shine a spotlight onto the signs. So
Well,
I
I-
think this might actually cause
And we
less
recently approved the Elks flashing sign
Yeah.
and didn't require
Yeah.
that they shut it off.
Well, now that I think about it, people that live in those apartments upstairs aren't in a dark sky environment to begin with,
Right?
so.
Right.
I'm one of them.
Yeah.
I live across from the Elks.
I had another question. So on here, it said printed UV laminated vinyl. And when I read in, the sign ordinance, it says glossy or, leatherette finished vinyl is not accepted on the Victorian era facade. So that was something I just wanted to bring to your guys' attention. It's in the Historical District Commission Guidelines, number 2 under signage. So I guess I wanted to make you guys aware of that. Is there another material that could be used for that or not?
I mean, this replaced hand painting, which is cost prohibitive, and
Yep.
there's a dozen signs on River Street at least that are this material. I think that maybe what that ordinance is maybe trying to prevent is like window graphics, like full coverage vinyl window graphics, and that would be on the facade. I'm not sure if a projecting sign counts as the facade. But
Right.
as far as I know, almost every projecting sign in downtown has this
Okay.
material.
And I'm not an expert, that's why I'm asking the questions, and maybe you guys have the same similar questions, so, okay.
If I mean, I would be open to the council's opinion of it, but, it's kind of industry standard at this point, so.
The guidelines also say no fluorescent colors So I'm assuming that the yellow is not going to be considered a fluorescent yellow?
I think I actually have in my bag her color samples that these are the colors that she's wanting for her sign. So the rays of the sun would be a gradient of the yellow to red, and then the lettering would be this blue color, so.
Thank you, you're very well prepared.
Yes.
What's the difference between the two materials?
Which materials?
You were citing,
Yes, it was the laminated vinyl. It's printed on UV laminated vinyl on
So-
routed out aluminum faces. Yeah.
It's actually like a sheet that is digitally printed and then adhered to, and this is a aluminum composite, but in the case of this sign, it would be on full thickness aluminum. It's if you walk down River Street and there's, projecting signs sticking out the fronts of buildings, whether it's black and white or, some sort of design, this is what it's made out of 95% of those cases. Because the only alternative really is to hand paint it. And I know that the Historic Commission would love if every sign downtown were hand painted, but I'm struggling to think of one that is. So, I don't know, this is my first application to the Historic Commission for a sign. I've only been with Johnson for 4 months, so some of these questions I might have to consult with my colleagues, but from what I understand, this is the standard material that we use, but we do try to use
is there
the design.
any difference appearance-wise?
I mean, the appearance comes down more to the design, I think, than anything. Somebody could hand paint this, and I guess if you had a really intricate, photorealistic image on a sign like this, it would maybe be obvious that it wasn't hand painted. Most of the signs downtown I know are trying to think of the word. They're more like just the name of the business and maybe like some sort of like iconic graphic, like if it's a flower shop, a flower, if it's a coffee shop, a cup, some sort of
Okay.
image.
Thank you very much for a very complete presentation. What is the desire of the commission?
I would move that we accept it as presented.
I support.
Is this is not changing the rules?
No.
No.
Okay.
Do you want to,
No, I don't, I'm not.
no, I mean, do you want the motion to include this as a special, however, whatever you want to call it? You had some verbiage
Special.
before.
So
Permit.
permitted use. We could have them fill out that application and do that. Absolutely.
Is that necessary? I don't know.
Well, it might put you at ease that we're not changing the rules, so to speak.
Okay, we can do that.
So your motion now is,
That I accept it as presented, and it's a special use permit, for lack of better terms.
okay.
Yep. Great.
The proposed sign for the Sun Shack is accepted as permitted, as presented, as a special permit. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think it's
Okay, old
the
business,
heck of it,
110
shining a light
Washington.
on them, so, you know.
Okay. Getting to that. All right, so here we got. There it is. So, I have to use this again, sorry. There we go. So this came in, actually, when I was transitioning from Katie and I was working with her, this came in, this is the sign that was on the building right there, and that was at 110 Washington Street. Jacqueline Thies, or Thies. This is the sign there, and then as you can see, when she did the application, they took the sign off, and then it ended up being this right here, and it was submitted to Mark. Hi, Mark, thank you for coming. Yep, and he signed off on that on October 10th. So I wanted you to be aware of this and what this looks like now.
Did they
Okay, so
match
no
the
action.
size?
Yes, the same size.
Same size?
Yes, yep,
So Mark's already pre-approved?
yes, he has.
Thanks.
Yes,
Attractive.
yes, it is, very nice.
Now we have plausible deniability.
But I still wanted to make you guys aware of it and to share this with you, so you knew what was going on with that one.
Thank you.
Yep, yeah, you're welcome. Let's see,
Okay, next item is outstanding permits.
yes, so I included that, let me go down to that next. I received this, and I know that the date is July 26th. This is the most recent that Katie and I had a chance to go through. But what I wanted to ask you, is there anything that I need to be aware of? Anything that you have questions on that I could bring back to the next meeting or email you the answer? But I wanted you to quickly glance at that and see if there's anything that I need to be aware of or that we need to talk about.
The only ones that I would be concerned about that has expired and they're in progress, and
Yes,
if we could just
correct.
have a follow-up to make sure that
Absolutely.
they are moving.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep, and that's what I have, the expiration dates and everything just right up here. Yep, and what I have in my office, and I guess I should let you know, my office is on the second floor now, and I share my office with the building inspector, which is Jerry Blue. And in the office, we have permits that come in, and I have them in a folder for the very next year. So I know for next year, September of 2024, to start to review, because they have 1 year to go through that. But it gives me a month to go through, to go out and check, take pictures, give you the update, see what it looks like, make sure it is consistent with what was permitted use. So,
Sounds like you're very organized.
thank you. I try to be. Try to be.
So the only ones that we're concerned with at this point are 95 Maple Street
Okay?
and
321.
321 River.
Okay? Yep.
That's it.
All right, sounds good. Would you like me to report it at the next meeting or email it?
Please,
Okay,
yeah.
sounds good.
Okay, public comment, communications on items not on the agenda. Correspondence. Okay, reports. We are happy to have the DDA director here to give us the report.
Good afternoon, everyone. Wearing one of my two hats today, the DDA Executive Director. Just wanted to provide you with a brief report of some things that are going on, and then open up for any questions you might have about any projects or anything that's moving along. On the facade front, the DDA has received an MEDC grant for $150,000 We are matching 50,000 of the DDA budget funds to provide 5 entities an opportunity to make improvements. We have received the MEDC grant terms. We need to review those further. It does take a little bit of time to get through that, legalese, but we need to then spin out grant agreements to the sub-grantees. We will have conversations with them in the coming week to figure out where we're at with the funding and what they need to do in order to complete the MEDC grant. As we indicated with a revised grant application 2 cycles ago, it will be their responsibility to come to the HDC with any changes and seek approval. But we did not require that ahead of the grant application so that we can streamline the process and make that faster. But what it means is that they will then come to you after they've received grant monies and then seek your approval for any substantive changes. So that's been done in the past. The last 2 that you have seen through the regular DDA facade grant was Snyder's and Bluefish. Snyder's came off very well. I think that looks fantastic. The second one is Bluefish, and they're working on tuck pointing on the east side of the building. They have some structural issues that they're working through. The 5 that will be guaranteed funding under the MEDC Facade Restoration Initiative grant are Spicer, Bluefish, Golden Stag, the dwelling real estate building, and the Elks. And so we need to work through with them what they will do. I can tell you that the concept for the Bluefish and for the Golden Stag is to either expand outdoor seating on the Riverwalk side or create outdoor seating on the Riverwalk side. So they'll create more seating opportunities. And in the case of the Bluefish, we'll have some elements that will expand their seating into the shoulder seasons with some heated elements. So we'll work through all of that, and hopefully cost is not too prohibitive in the time that we've taken to get the grant details in place. If there's any funds left over, and if we're allowed, and this is what I'm still working through, we will do another round of grant applications for any leftover money, which may or may not be possible at this point. So that legally, under the terms of the agreement, may not be possible. But we may have some additional, hopefully some additional building owners that would be able to come before you and seek approval if they are able to receive money. As a result of a number of factors, there's another 8 or 9, I've lost track, building owners or business owners that would like to make improvements to their facades and are seeking grant funds. So that's tremendous. I think that we're seeing a lot of interest. We're seeing business owners that have seen improvement in the economic situation since COVID, and certainly with the increase in, well, I would say hopefully the increase in visitors that we're experiencing, that they're investing in their buildings. So that's the facade piece.
Mark, for the grant, when do the projects have to be completed by?
2026.
Oh, okay, sufficient time.
Oh, yeah. We have on the front end need to obligate dollars by the end of December and obligate where the money is going to go to. That's a fast turnaround, and that's the current challenge. But in terms of spending the money, 2026 is the deadline.
Good.
Yeah.
Is there a cap on the grant for award for each individual building owner?
Not yet, but we did put in our application because we had to have shovel-ready grants going for the application. So that's why we have identified the 5. Let me just back up one more tidbit of information. the, the grant recipients were applicants that didn't receive grants in previous cycles under the Match on Main or with our facade grant program with the DDA. So we resubmitted to take care of everybody, right? So there's that. Catherine, I'm sorry, can you repeat the question? I got lost.
Oh, is there a cap on
The cap.
grant to award for each individual building?
Thank you. There is not a cap, but we do want to have them complete the project, but also spend a reasonable amount on their project. We only have $200,000 to grant out. And so if we can make sure everybody can get in under that, that's the cap, right? That's the real cap. One thing that we did differently with this application is that previously the facade grants were 50-50 matches. We turned this into a 66-33% match. So with MEDC and the DDA matching 66%, and that allows a lower barrier for improvements for building owners.
Nice.
We'll only be able to do that for a short period of time, but we wanted to use the grant funds to do that now.
Is it required that the project be completed to receive the grant money?
I'll have to take another look at the terms, but this is a reimbursement, so they will have to perform the work. That is going to be a requirement. So the timing of the payments, I haven't quite got memorized yet.
I can see one project that expired as Paulette Junker, which would be good for this.
She's inquiring about future grant money.
Also, Old Town Northern,
They will have, they will be able to move forward with their construction. We recently, now my chamber hat's on now, so I'm doing economic development for the chamber. We were able to get the Oprah work through City Council, so they have that incentive. They're seeking an MEDC CRP fund assistance to close some of the construction gap. I anticipate that if they're able to get MEDC funding through that route, that they will be able to start construction in early 2024. So that's that kind of gets at your point. We anticipate that to move forward. Let me roll into that. Northern Hotel is that's the status. We've been working closely with that developer. We have also been working on other projects that would put tenants or projects into vacant or underutilized buildings. The Gateway is moving forward, and they're working through on the city side with their brownfield plans. So we expect that to continue. There could be some movement on construction in 2024. They're stating that publicly, so we can say that. The streetscape plan that the DDA has undertook, and will be nearing completion in the next month or two. We'll have a plan with construction figures on how to improve the streetscape.
is that funded at this point?
No.
There's no funding that's allocated or identified?
No. So we will get this plan, and let me also say, Lee, thank you for participating. You've been coming to public engagement processes, and if I missed anybody else, I apologize, but we've had involvement from the commission, but we will receive a plan with dollar figures attached, and that will be the beginning of the discussion about how to fund it and what our priorities might be. It is our hope at the DDA that the city will participate and partner with us on some of these pieces, but those conversations have yet to commence, and so we anticipate that will be part of the discussion in early 2024, if not earlier. Just as a for instance, one of the ideas that came out of the public engagement sessions of people having input into the plan and what could be there, they were asking for snow melt as part of the streetscape process. As part of this public engagement period, we encouraged them to come up with some preliminary figures so we can get an idea. That's a $6 to $12 million project. The DDA will not have enough funds to do that, ever. Ever. We have enough.
I remember when the original streetscape was done and there was plumbing installed to water the flower boxes downstairs. Never worked.
Failed.
Never worked.
It failed.
I hate to see something like that, a $6 or $8 million project, and there isn't proper maintenance and
Yeah. So let me just provide a bit of information for public discussion. The DDA budget is roughly $265,000 a year. That's the tax increment financing capture for the district. That can go up if we have more expensive properties paying taxes, et cetera. However, the amount of money that would provide us, less the administrative costs, less the city services agreement, is roughly, we can probably finance about $90,000 a year in bond debt service, which would, with the amount of term for the DDA TIF plan at being somewhere around 17 years now, it would probably give us around 1.25 to 1.5 million in bondable projects. So that doesn't get us very far. So we need to go with grants, some sort of assistance from the city, or some other scheme in order to have the financing to move forward. The streetscape plan will have 5 major buckets or 5 projects, and we'll have to prioritize which are the most important. But I'm sure that will be a public discussion, and we'll see that come about probably starting in December, but certainly January, February. We're having a good deal of success with our buildings being occupied for commercial use. There are a few buildings that are vacant still, but for the most part, there's really only one place for rent. The others are by design empty. Building owners moving on their timeline for their vision for the building. But we have seen a lot of interest in downtown, and those vacant spots are being filled. We are even, I'm happy to say, starting to look at the Riverwalk side of buildings. So recently, City Council approved a resolution of support for a tasting room for a new distillery that will be taking place in the back side of Hokinson's Camera at 308 River Street. That is significant in that we're now starting to fill in on that side with those types of businesses and our tourism infrastructure. Let's see. Administratively, we're doing well with the chamber doing the executive director position as a team approach. I'm not alone. I'm also, if I somehow got hit by a dial-a-ride bus, that there would be people to take over immediately in case of something happening. So we've actually had a little bit of turnover. Christina Bajka was the first person to do this role. When she left the chamber, I stepped up, and we see a continuity of service as being a benefit to that team approach. So we've signed a contract for the chamber to do this for 3 more years. So you will continue to see someone like me or see me as the liaison to have discussions with you in the future. So,
Thank you, Mark. This is very helpful. You know, you're welcome anytime. We'd love to have you come. Give us
Thanks,
an
Lee.
update every month, you or somebody else anyway. You know.
be happy to do that, and it's also good to see the 4 of you. It's good to talk to you individually as well. So please call me anytime. Thank you.
Mark,
Thanks, Mark.
I have a question. When is the next step, or when do we have another meeting for streetscape? Because I went to it and enjoyed it. I was there for probably an hour and 20 minutes and just asking a lot of questions. They had the labels.
This job.
They had all the little stickers that you could put on there and place what you were interested in, what you had questions about. They had events for children, they had for adults. I mean, the splash pad for kids and things that I could see and recognize that Muskegon had and what Ludington has, and all over Detroit with possibly the skating rink and all those type of things. But so my question is, again, I'm sorry, when is the next meeting, or when will we see something next?
So there are no more further meetings.
Okay.
That was the third
Third
of the
one.
public engagement, and that's what we've contracted for, so that's it for you.
Okay.
However,
Okay,
for all of you, and I'm hopefully going to hit the submit button on an email at some point very soon, but we will provide a link with all of the materials that you saw and you saw, so that everyone can see it from their home computer. And there's also a final survey for boards and commissions to
Okay.
help with the prioritization. So what would you like to see? Because then we can kind of help guide us down that discussion about what we're going to pay for and how much.
okay,
So that will be coming. I have some technical things to do with a Google Drive and making it public, but I have those files and I just need
Okay.
to hit the send button. So look for something from us on that, but that will be the last public engagement piece.
okay,
Then the survey we would provide to you all will be due like November 9th, I believe. The next public piece after that private survey is some discussion at a future DDA board meeting,
okay,
and those will hopefully start in December.
okay.
So we'll have some discussion and presentation on what's in the plan.
Okay, great, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Museum Director,
I have nothing.
Planning and Zoning Administrator.
Well, again, Teresa Waldo, and I would also like to introduce Laura McKenzie. Go ahead, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thanks. My name is Laura McKenzie. I started with the city in June as accountant, accounts payable. And now I'm going to be helping Teresa with the minutes for the HDC meetings.
Welcome aboard.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Yes, I
Teresa,
appreciate
you want
it.
to tell us some things about your background, what you want to accomplish, and
Sure, absolutely. So, like I said, I started a month ago. I applied for the position. For one, this is planning and zoning is my passion. I started with planning and zoning when I worked at Laketon Township in Muskegon. Laketon Township has roughly 8,000 residents, and doing planning and zoning through the Michigan State University Extension Office. Mary Riley and a few other individuals took the class there. Then I also did the citizen planner and the master citizen planner. And before I started to do that, I got my master's degree in management from Aquinas College. And before that, my bachelor's at Aquinas, but that was several years ago that I got that. When I was at Laketon Township, did large development for housing, and I was very proud of myself that I got lighting down a whole subdivision and sidewalks. They had never had sidewalks or lighting, so I really pushed and felt that the need for kids and children and adult safety was the biggest thing. And especially when the school buses, I actually would record like what time the buses would come down if the kids had to walk through and everything. So did that, worked on a large Wesco project on Whitehall Road in Muskegon, and just always did the updating the classes and everything for the zoning. I ended up having to leave the position there. My mom got sick. I moved to Fort Myers, Florida, took care of her, and then she passed away. So then I got a job in Lake County in the equalization department. I did the first level of assessing classes, and I was bored. I did not enjoy it. And so I saw this job opening up, and I thought, I can get back into planning and zoning and being a director. So once I started here, they said right away, some grants are going to be crucial. Also, we're trying to revitalize the city, anything new, creative. And it does help in a way not living here, because I'm new to the area and I get to see what I've seen in other areas and ask questions. So that's my biggest thing, is asking questions like, why is this happening? Or why isn't that, for somebody who's actually, lived here a long time. I'm excited because Manistee reminds me so much of Muskegon, where I'm from. I lived in North Muskegon, went to Muskegon Catholic Central, go Crusaders, football team. So that's just a little bit about me, and I'm hoping, everybody's been great to work with, and I hope that I bring some great ideas and help everybody around here, and also think outside the box when somebody comes with a plan that they want to do, or a change in their property, or look at things like that. So, do you have any questions for me? Sure.
You're gonna have to move here because the fishing's really good.
Don't tell my husband that, no. I know, we live on the White River in White Cloud, that's where I live.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, so he does a lot of fly fishing right on the White River, which is nice, so, yeah. But we are talking about getting a cabin or something up here by next spring or next summer, so I won't have the long drive. But when I do have nightly meetings, I do stay overnight here, so, yeah.
Okay, let's do the same thing for her. A little bit of introduction and background.
Yes, please.
Oh, okay. I'm a retired teacher and high school coach. I work down in Sparta, just north of Grand Rapids, so I'm familiar with the area you came from when we wrestled over in Muskegon
Yes.
a lot.
Yes.
So that's my background, and I've also dabbled in some freelance writing and a few other things. So I'm a hunter and a fisherman.
Okay. What brought you here then?
This is a really, really good place to retire. And I'd visited here often, all my life, off and on, for various things. But now that I'm here and I'm playing senior softball in the summer, and it's just a good place to be. What's unusual about, well, like, let's say the senior softball group, we have about 25 players, and there's a grand total of 3 guys that grew up in Manistee.
Oh, wow.
And played like school sports here. Everybody else on our team has moved here from somewhere else. So I think that's a compliment
Absolutely.
on Manistee.
Ed?
Yes, recently retired 2 years ago. But I was in public service for 44 years, police, fire, EMT, and into city management. And my last job was a city manager here, and I retired in July. I got here because of the job, and it's a perfect location for my wife and I, because we're 2 hours away from my daughter and her family, and an hour from my son and his family. And so it's a wonderful place to be.
Yeah.
Catherine?
Oh, you're gonna skip yourself?
Please save the best one.
I grew up here, 4th generation. My kids are 5th generation. I have a very strong interest in preserving the history and the historic downtown, so I'm volunteering now. I spent a few years marketing the county. I've really enjoyed that position, and now I'm working for a construction company, and we do a lot of redevelopment in the area, and also starting a new business.
Exciting, congratulations.
Lee?
My name is Lee Trucks. I didn't grow up here, but not too far away. I grew up in Baldwin, which is maybe 50 miles away or so, but a very checkered history from there on, including going to 3 different Big Ten schools and teaching school in Africa for 5 years, and being 45 years in business in Manistee, and owner of a fairly historic building, which I'm no longer an owner of, but still have an interest in that. And the owner of a 134-year-old house in
Wow.
Manistee, which I have been gradually trying to bring up to 21st century standards. Other than that, I have 3 kids, one in California, one who lives outside of Atlanta, and one who lives in Plymouth, Michigan. So I don't have anybody very close, but I have good places to go to travel to see them, which is always a good thing.
Yes, it is.
Make sure that your kids go to interesting places.
My oldest lives Winston-Salem, North Carolina, because she graduated from Kendall College, furniture design maker. Then my middle daughter bought a home in Shelby, and she works in Shelby. And then my son lives in Muskegon, and he's a mechanic. So you have 27, 25, and 21.
And we do have some other members that are not here today that you will meet at future
Yes.
meetings. And
Absolutely. So
I guess we are down to whether anybody has any
Move we
comments
adjourn.
about anything.
Support.
Oh, I do have one last, oh, go ahead, I have one last thing. Okay, so I wanted to let you know, did you get the email about the Land Bank 101? Wanted to invite you to that, or no? Okay, I will make sure that I send that out. It's in November 7th, I believe it is, but it's called Land Bank 101, and they're giving some information about that, what all I know, but I can get you that date. I'll make sure and email all of you, and make sure that Thad, we got the right email address. Wonderful, great. So the last thing I need to discuss is, I was asked by Chief Glass to talk about murals and what your feeling is, and to start to think about some ideas. So let me read this to you. The Neighborhood Restoration and Beautification Commission is in the process of mural. Their mural process is discussing on what community murals possess and in developing a policy for future murals in the city. Mary Kay and Jess Stalling will work on creating a policy using the prior Grand Rapids information presented. Suggestions to reach out to the high school art department and other future artists that you may know, and what your thoughts are about murals. And this was taken from the NRBC minutes on October 2nd. So, if you'd like to quickly,
Murals have been under discussion here.
Okay.
In general, I think the commission has been positive about murals, but there are some stipulations
okay,
that it has to fit in there. And we do actually have a policy about murals,
okay.
which was adopted, what, a year and a half ago?
You got a better memory than I.
I think
There
it
are
was
some
when Zach was-
guidelines.
when Zach was here.
Okay,
I would be interested in entertaining a discussion on murals in non-contributing historic buildings, or on our walls. Like there's the wall next to the West Shore Community College building. And it's in the historic district, but it's not really contributing to the commission.
Yeah, I think basically, you know, The commission's positive about murals, and if anybody has a proposal, we'd like to look at it. you know,
Okay, great.
What the mural is and where it's going to be, and
Mm-hmm.
whether it fits into our guidelines, or whether we have to revisit that, or,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not opposed to the concept at all. I think it really does something for the downtown area.
Well, and I'm going to go to their meeting next week and with Josh and just see what they have to say and see where the conversation goes. So I will report back to you and let you know.
The murals that they did on First Street, I think, are very attractive and for a very unattractive wall, especially.
Yeah.
So, a nice improvement.
And I've been seeing a lot of them in Grand Rapids, and I think it's also been emphasized because of Art Prize going on in Grand Rapids. So I think that's been really unique.
we
Right.
have a motion to adjourn on the floor,
Yep.
Seconded.
Yep.
so it's done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Still got time